Alright, hey guys, been a hot minute since I've made a video, but I thought I'd come on here because it's been a hot minute since we talked about anything Steelers related, so I thought it'd be fun to do a little bit of a Steelers update and kind of what I think about what's going on with the team. So, trade for DK Metcalf. That was fantastic. I'm glad to have DK on the team. Another big body receiver. Love it to death. DK is going to help out a lot, as we all know. Then we had the draft. Lovely draft. I was one of the people who thought that we would take Shador at 21. We didn't. And I was like, okay, well, maybe we'll take Shador in round 3. We didn't. We took Caleb Johnson, I believe his name was, which I'm very okay with. Seems like a very good running back. People said very, Najee Le'Veon Bell style, so good back to have. I do like our 21st pick. I did skip over him, but Derek Harmon does seem like a very good guy, especially somebody to sit and learn behind Cam Hayward. Appreciate that. That's always good to have. Then we took, I think after him, we took another D tackle. Or no, it was Jack Sawyer, I believe. Hold on. I didn't remember everything all the time. I need to, though. That would be super beneficial to me. Talk amongst yourselves. I'm having a great time trying to figure this out. Okay, hold on. Hold on. Oh god, why is this so far down? Come on. Yes, it was Jack Sawyer in round 4. Okay. Alright, so let me pull up a full list. Come on. That's not what I was looking for. Okay. But yeah, so it was Jack Sawyer in round 4. Then it was Yaya Black. Good D tackle from what I've seen. Then we took Will Howard in the 6th round. We'll get back to him in a little bit. And then it was Carson Brenner, I believe it was. His dad was a tight end for us, I believe also now a scout, I think. And then we took a corner. I think I love how I just had it pulled up, and now everybody's going to be like, you didn't pull it up. Dante Kent. That was it. Oh, Carson Bruner. Yeah, Bruner. We'll say Bruner because I think that's what it was. So we took them, and then we signed, obviously, our undrafted free agents. We had a couple good ones from according to people. Sadly, I don't really follow. I wish I did a little bit. I need to get better at that. I'm working on it. And then after the draft, we trade George Pickens. Every Steelers fan proceeded to lose their mind. We just got DK, now we're in the same situation we were before, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't even matter who's going to throw these guys the ball, and all this other stuff. So, I have one thing to say to all of those people. It's fair, but I'm in the group of Steelers fans who saw this coming because of his attitude. He was not fitting in the locker room anymore, to the point where some of the vets just decided he was not a good locker room presence. I hope he does great in Dallas, because, would never wish ill will on any football player, especially a young kid like that. Hope he does good in Dallas. I want to talk about that trade, because people were like, Dallas fleeced Pittsburgh. I don't know. I think it was equal. I don't think we got the better end of the deal. Some people are like, oh, well, Pittsburgh got rid of a toxic player, so they got the better end of the deal. I don't agree with that. I personally believe it was equal. Maybe slightly more Dallas's end if, he does good. But I don't think necessarily that it was a fleecing one way or the other. Because Dallas has to pay him. If they want to keep him on the roster, they have to pay him. Granted, he said that he would like to play this year and prove that he can do his job and do it well. So after the offseason, they're going to have to pay him if they want to keep him. So for a year rental, which is what it seems to be, depending on how things go, a third rounder is actually very decent, I feel. And people were saying, well, why didn't this happen during the draft? And blah, 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 blah. From what I saw, the Dallas had proposed a trade during the draft, but it was for a fourth rounder. Pittsburgh didn't want to do that because who would want a fourth rounder? Again, good players come out of the fourth round. Good players can come out of any round. I get that. But also, I agree with Pittsburgh here that a third rounder was at least that we could take. And I did see the articles that teams were laughing in Pittsburgh's face about the idea of trading for George Pickens. So, that kind of lets you know kind of where the league stands on Pickens. I'm not saying he's a bad kid. He actually seems like he could be a great kid, but he needs to grow up a little bit more. Which he says he's doing, so, golf claps for the kid. So, I don't think we got fleeced, and I do think that this is going to be for, trade-up compensation. Because I think if Pittsburgh does do this, it's to trade up to get a first-round quarterback this upcoming season. So, that could be why the trade went down and all this other stuff. I also have something else to say. The whole draft process. Everybody was like, teams are waiting for next year's draft class because it's going to be so much better. Because you have Arch Manning in it. You have Drew Allard. I believe that's his name. Drew Allard in it. Carson Beck, who's supposed to be in this year's draft class, will be in next year's draft class. You have the kid who just had the problems over at Tennessee, Nico, I believe. He's supposed to be in next year's draft class. You have the LSU quarterback. I don't remember his name. I'm not going to Google it up to waste more of your guys' time. You have the LSU quarterback who's supposed to be entering the next year's draft class. All this other stuff. And I understand where people are coming from. Yes, there are probably... If next year's draft class is better, then okay. Here's the problem. As proven by this year's draft class, we don't know. Oh, and Arch Manning. I forgot I mentioned Arch Manning, I think. We don't know if they're going to enter the draft. I don't think Arch is. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I agree with most analysts. I think Arch is going to stay in college all 4 years because of the family he comes from. From what I heard, Archie Manning, a.k.a. Big Ol' Pops, played 4 years. Peyton played 4 years. Eli played 4 years at college. So I think it will be more of Archie playing 4 years and then coming in the 2027 draft. So I personally think that that's what's going to happen. So you drop in the quarterback by at least one, and then we'll see what other players decide to either announce for the draft or not announce for the draft. So we'll see. I personally am okay with the idea of next year's draft class as long as a decent amount of quarterbacks come in. Excuse me. Come into it. I blew out your guys' eardrums there. Anyways, as long as a decent amount of quarterbacks come into next year's draft class, I think it will be perfectly fine for us to do what we're doing. But also, I do not like the fact of this entire draft class catching slack at the QB position. Just personally, from what I've seen from Shador, I think if he develops, he can be a good quarterback. I think if fucking Quinn Ewers, if he sits and develops, I think he could be a good quarterback. Jackson Dart, same thing. I'm going to mention Will Howard. I know this is a Steelers video, so I'm going to mention him. I think the same thing with Will Howard. If he sits and develops, I think he can be good. So, I think that is the full thing. My problem is, though, if you draft a guy in the 6th round, right? Right? And you let him sit and develop for a year. Then you go into next year's draft and you draft a quarterback. If the 6th rounder beats out the 1st rounder, then I'm not going to say wasted, but you could use the 1st rounder on something that now we found out we don't need, and you have to then figure out what you want to do there. Because if the 1st rounder gets beat up by the 6th rounder, then you, like I said, you're kind of stuck with the 1st rounder, because most teams that are quarterback needy in this upcoming draft, like us, because we don't know what our quarterback situation looks like. The Browns, same thing. Saints are still trying to figure out. They just lost Derek Carr to retirement, which I hope Derek Carr, heals and has a good retirement. Yeah, all these teams that are quarterback needy. The Dolphins could become quarterback needy. They could move on from Tua because of Tua's injury history and all that stuff, and the fact that Tua is not really getting the job done for them. I don't think the Panthers will become quarterback needy. A lot of people are estimating that they will. A lot of people are saying that Bryce Young will take a step back instead of a step forward. So that could be a thing. I just personally think that you need to figure out what you're doing here. And it's going to take some time. So I hope we figure it out in the sense of young quarterback, because we do need a quarterback. We do need somebody to just sit there and watch. And so I think that'll be okay. Now, in the sense of mentorship, I do want to talk about this because this is the biggest topic of this fucking offseason with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Aaron mother-loving Rodgers. I have to be nice. I don't want him. And the people and everybody who's like, "We should mentor." Yeah, if I would have been okay with Aaron Rodgers if he signed before the draft, or even a week after the draft. We are going on, I believe, next week will be a month since the draft. And a lot of analysts said it seems like Pittsburgh drafted to not piss off Aaron Rodgers, which it does seem like that. With taking quarterback in the 6th round, that granted we do have a lot of hope for, but still, I don't like waiting on Aaron Rodgers, because it does seem like what is happening. But I also feel like there hasn't been any improvement because Pittsburgh's not waiting on him. Tomlin has said multiple times that they're okay with rolling out with Rudolph. Do I agree with that? Not my call. Rudolph is a decent quarterback enough. So, and every analyst is saying, well, they have Rudolph and Skylar Thompson. Nobody's mentioning Will Howard. I personally feel like if Will can beat out Mason for the starting job, and if he can beat out Mason, he can beat out Skylar. That's a given at this point, because I don't feel like Skylar is better than Mason. But if Will Howard can beat out Mason, let the Rook play the whole season. No threat of pulling or anything. Ben said it best. He said, go in there as the 6th round pick, no weight on your shoulders, and just win the job. Just do your best and try and win that job. Because I think he can do it. I do believe in my whole heart he can do it. And I feel like his draft stock suffered because he's not always consistent with accuracy, which he needs to work on, I will agree. And I also believe his draft stock fell because of the weapons around him. And Buka, I believe the two-headed horse at running back lately. He had talent around him. But that's what should happen. You should have talent around him. And if people go like this, well, he played with NFL talent. Okay, he's going to do that in the league, too. He's throwing to DK Metcalf, probably. Well, I say probably. DK's here for another fucking 4 years. So, he's throwing to DK Metcalf. He's throwing to Jaylen Warren. He's throwing to one of the most underrated tight ends, I feel like, because nobody fucking talks about him. Pat Freiermuth. He's throwing all these guys, and you got Calvin Austin, you got Roman Wilson, which, judging by what the Steelers are saying and showing, it seems like they have a lot of faith in what they're seeing from Roman Wilson, that he's going to be a big part of this offense. So, I got faith. Maybe misplaced in all of your opinions, I don't care. I have faith, because at this point, that's what we need. So, I really hope that everybody's saying tank this season. I don't, or this should be Tomlin's first losing season. I can see that happening, especially because I'm not going to complain about it, but goddamn our schedule. It starts out kind of, it moves a little bit, and then week 5. So 13 straight games of football. And our defense already had a problem last year with getting tired because the offense couldn't keep them off the field. 13 straight games? Are you kidding me? Against, let's just talk about the defenses that we're going up against. Seriously, this is asinine. So, after the bye week, we go up against the Browns defense, the Bengals defense. Well, actually, I shouldn't say the Bengals defense. I don't know how good their defense is going to be. But, so, we'll just list the ones I am worried about. The Browns defense. Wow, I'm not worried about a lot. Oh, no, I am. Browns defense. Packers defense, I think, got a lot better. Got decently better. Fucking Indianapolis' defense. Chargers defense. The Bears, the Bills, the Ravens. I think the Dolphins could be a sneaky, scary defense. The Lions, if they're all healthy, Jesus fucking Christ. The Browns defense again. The fucking Ravens defense to end the season. Why do we consistently end the season with the Ravens? It makes me mad. But looking at the schedule, it's Jets, Seahawks, Patriots, Vikings bye week. And then, like I said, Browns, Bengals, Packers, Colts, Chargers, Bengals again, Bears, Bills, Ravens, Dolphins, Lions, Browns again, and then the Ravens again. That's it's not a very tough schedule. It's a tough schedule in my personal opinion. So we gotta be on our A game the whole time. And if you guys are in the mood of just have this be Tomlin's first losing season, why not throw the Rook out there? Why not see what he can do? Because guess what? If he does good, oh my God, we might have a guy. If he does bad, we know what the first round pick's going to be used for. This is a win-win situation in my mind. But we should let the rookie do what he needs to do. and have no strings attached. Just be like, this is your show. Well, maybe not. But, like, just be like this. Hey, do your best. We're going to let you just go at it. We want you to do your best. We're not going to... It's not going to be like 2 weeks, and if you do terrible, we're going to doink you. Because we know what we have in Mason. Mason's good, but we know what Skylar Thompson is. We don't know what Will Howard is yet at an NFL level. I believe that he can get the job done as needed. So I have faith. And to the people saying, I still want Aaron Rodgers, he needs to just retire at this point. This is dragging on too long. I've given up. And also, no trading for Kirk Cousins, because then we're wasting picks that we could use on other things. I want us to think this through, which I believe that Tomlin and Omar are. But I also believe that it isn't in the front of their minds what they're doing right now. I hope that Pittsburgh has found their guy, Will Howard, because I really do like Will Howard. He has the swagger towards him that, that you need. He also has a leadership role, as his teammate from Ohio State, Jack, has said. That he's a leader. And he's not cocky. Like, some people were like, Shador was cocky, from what I heard. Shador was cocky, and from what I've seen from the interviews and stuff, he came off a little cocky. It's probably why he got passed on so much. Like, I get, after a while, you look over the talent over the steps, though, again. The cockiness, but I feel like Will has a chance to succeed in this league. John Gruden said, and I take tweets very lightly, but I did like seeing the fact that John Gruden was like, the Steelers got a good one. So, I think John Gruden knows what he's talking about when it comes to quarterbacks, considering Andrew Luck was one of his favorite quarterbacks. So, like, listen, we'll see how the season goes. I have faith in this season to the utmost degree. We'll see how the Steelers do. I also cannot wait to watch that Dublin game against the Vikings. That's going to be fun. Also, I cannot wait to see our new alternative uniforms we're going to be wearing against the Packers week 8. I cannot wait to see my favorite jerseys back. I cannot wait to see the Color Rush played against the Dolphins week 15. Yeah, week 15. That is going to be so much fun. I love the Color Rush. Also, I cannot wait to see our new alternate helmets, because I heard those were coming in like July. So, yeah, we'll see what happens there. So, alright, I've rambled on for 23 minutes, almost 24. Let's see if I can hit the 24 mark. You had like 7 more seconds. But yeah, I appreciate you guys listening. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. In the comments down below. I'll talk to you all later. Peace.